Welcome to sewing class. This is Annette Julie, and today we are working on our machine use study guide. So our first question is, home irons are stored or rested? And the answer is on their heels. So here it is, on its heels right here. And that's how you would rest a home iron. You're never going to rest it down like this because it's going to burn the fabric. All right, that's just for pressing. But you would rest it on its heels. Number 2, why? Well, first off, so the water doesn't steam out. As you have it down in this level, all the water is coming out as you would iron your swatch of fabric. Also, too, like I said, you're going to burn a hole through the ironing board. Number 3, gravity feed irons are stored or rested. A, flat on their sole plates. So since I'm doing this video for remote instruction, I don't have an industrial steam iron with me. They're much heavier than this. It wouldn't be plastic, it's mostly all metal, and it would be connected to a tank of water. And those industrial irons are stored flat. They're stored flat on a separate Teflon plate over to the side of your ironing board. The steam will not continue to come out with that gravity feed iron. So 3 is A, gravity feed irons are stored flat like this on their sole plate. Number 4, why? Well, they're more stable that way. A gravity feed iron, which is an industrial iron, not this one, is much heavier and it's not going to balance very well on its heels. Also, too, the repetitive process of bringing it down and back up and down and back up all day long in a sewing factory wouldn't be good. So if we keep the industrial iron flat, it would be resting on a Teflon plate or over in a metal cage. Then we bring the iron onto the ironing board, back to its resting position. Onto the ironing board, back to its resting position. And that would be for a gravity feed iron. Number 5, how do you check if an iron is hot? Well, the best way to do it is go ahead and iron your ironing board and then press the ironing board. Go ahead and touch that. How does that feel? That feels warm. So, some bad ways of checking if the iron is hot is to actually touch this sole plate. We're not trying to touch your iron. You're going to burn yourself. Don't put spit on your finger and try to touch that. That's very dangerous. Also, what's also pretty dangerous is spraying water on here. That doesn't work as well. So what we're doing is we're putting the iron down onto the ironing board, and then we're going to feel that ironing board and feel if it's hot. So number 6, what do you need to do to check before plugging in a gravity feed iron? Again, this is an iron that we would have in our classroom. I don't have one at home. But you would need to select all of these. A, check your reservoir level. B, thermostat setting. C, reservoir valve, that it's open. D, that there's no air bubbles in the line. E, that the sole plate is clean. And F, that the cord is not twisted. You need to check all of these. When we're working with a gravity feed iron, like I said, I don't have one right now, but you would need to plug it in, turn it on, and turn on, I said, the reservoir valve to make sure it's open so the water can go into the gravity feed iron. Number 7, how do you generate steam in a home iron? Well, this home iron, I was able to fill water. I'm going to pour water right through here, and then here I can see my water level, and it's about a third of the way full right now. And I let that heat up. I also turn my setting right up here to cotton, which is a high setting. And then I have this knob over here ready for steam. Okay, if I was to put this back to 0, there's no steam. But I'm back over here to a little cloud, and I've got steam. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and iron, and the steam is naturally coming out because the water's heated up. And I have this to a hot setting, and I have the dial at the top to allow for steam. I could also press and you get a spurt of water that comes out the front, but that's not my favorite way to apply heat and steam. So for number 7, you're going to add water, you're turned to a steam setting, and also, like I said, we're going to hold the iron horizontal to have the iron generate the steam. Number 8, how do you properly use the steam button on a gravity feed iron? So the gravity feed irons we have in the classroom have a little button over here to the side where your thumb is, and to have the steam come out, you click down on it. You never hold it, but you click down in a more of like a Morse code kind of fashion to generate steam in a gravity feed iron. So number 8, the answer is, do not press and hold. Click it like doing it in a little Morse code. Click like little short clicks with that button, and hopefully we can see that in the classroom. What do you do if you push the button on the gravity feed iron and no steam comes out? So again, this is talking about what we have in the classroom. First off, stop pressing the button, and then we're going to troubleshoot the line. Like perhaps there is air in that water line. Number 10, what is the best way to keep the iron from dropping to the floor? Well, first off, we don't want to have it balancing at the edge. At any of the edges is a very bad idea. Place that iron firmly in the middle of the board, okay? So number 10 is, what is the best way to keep the iron from dropping to the floor? Keep the iron in the center of the ironing board. Be aware of the iron and the cord. And of course, if you were to drop this to the floor, you're going to break it. You're also, if you had carpet, you're going to melt your carpet. So now sometimes for home sewing, we can have a little area to rest this in, and it actually holds this, and it can attach to the end of your ironing board. I love those little holding devices. So number 11, what do you need to do with all irons before you leave your classroom? Well, this is in your home as well. You need to unplug the iron. But not only unplug it, take the cord with the prong exposed and put that on top of the ironing board. If you see that prong, you know you've unplugged that iron. So you're going to wind everything up, and you're going to put that prong right on the ironing board. That way we know that the iron is unplugged. So number 11, what do you need to do with all irons before you leave the class? We're going to unplug them. Like I said, do this in your home. Number 12, where do pressing tools go in the classroom? Well, they're going to go in the closet. And here's an example of a pressing tool. That is a pressing ham. It's got a little plaid on one side, and it's white on the other. And this we use for pressing princess seams or a curved seam. Perhaps we would use this area to press a sleeve cap. We have other pressing tools known as ironing boards and clappers and things like that, but that's one pressing tool. So pressing tools, they're going to belong in our closet in the classroom. And where is the classroom lost and found? Pretty much I have a box up front. Number 14, are bobbins and bobbin cases and presser feet generally interchangeable between brands? No, they are not. And we're going to continue on with that in part 2 of our machine use study guide. This is Annette Jouy, and I'll see you in a minute.